Hi everyone, this is the video for the unit called exponential functions, and this is objective 1. So this is about all of our different laws that we have to use for exponents. So we're talking about 4 different laws, and the first one being the multiplication law. Sorry, I'm adding in a multiplication sign. So what that looks like is when you're multiplying two variables with exponents. So if you notice here, I have x to the 4th times that black dot that I just added is a multiplication sign times x to the 5th. And then it's saying that you actually don't end up multiplying your exponents, you add them. So if you would add 4 and 5, your final answer would be x to the 9th, because 4 plus 5 is 9. The division law talks about what if you are dividing exponents. So x to the 10th divided by x to the 6th, you actually subtract your exponent. So if you did 10 minus 6, it'd be 4. Your final answer is x to the 4th. The power law looks like this, where you have one exponent on top of another exponent. So the x to the 3rd, and then it's being raised again to the 2nd. So that's 2 exponents on top of each other. This is where you're going to multiply your exponents. So 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. And then lastly, the negative exponent law, you're actually never allowed to have an exponent that's negative. You have to do something with it. You can't just leave it negative. So whenever you have a negative exponent, you are to put it in the bottom of a fraction. So I took x to the negative 4th, I put it under 1, became 1 over x to the 4th, and when I put it in the bottom of a fraction, it becomes positive. So these are your 4 main laws that I want you to always constantly refer back to throughout this objective. So let's do some practice problems. Our first problem here says x to the 3rd times x to the 7th. So I'm asking you 3 things. I'm asking what law you're using, what do you have to do, and then what is your final answer. So the law is pretty obviously the multiplication law. It looks just like our example in the multiplication law. So I'm going to start by saying it's the multiplication law. What do? Remember, you add the exponents. You add the exponents. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my first exponent, which is 3, add it with my second exponent, which is 7. I get 10. The final answer is x to the 10th. Your final answer is not 10. Your new exponent is 10, so x to the 10th. Okay, next problem says negative 5x times negative 8x times 8x. Even though there's numbers out front, the only law that we're using here is multiplication law. I just kept saying times, times, times. That means multiplication, and we're going to add the exponents. Okay. These laws only refer to exponents. So for example, these numbers out front, negative 5 and negative 8, those are not exponents. They don't need any kind of special laws. You just treat those like normal. So negative 5 times negative 8. If you put that in your calculator, negative 5 times negative 8, you're going to get a positive 40. Okay, so take care of the numbers out front first. Now let's do our exponents, but I don't actually see exponents here. I don't see any exponents like we did up here. If you do not see an exponent, you can always assume that there is an imaginary 1. Always. Every variable, every letter is going to have an exponent. So if you don't see a number, you can assume it is 1. So we are going to do 1 plus 1 plus 1. Your final exponent is going to be 3. So it becomes 40x to the 3rd. Next problem, x to the 15th divided by x to the 7th. The only thing I said there was divided by, so that means I'm using the division law. So I will put here division law. What do you do? What do you do during the division law? You subtract the exponents. So I'm going to say subtract the exponents. And just the main thing here is always do top minus bottom. So I'm going to do 15 minus 7, which is 8. My final answer is x to the 8th. Okay. Next one, I have k to the 9th, m to the 3rd, divided by k to the 3rd, m. The only thing I said again there was division, which means that we had to subtract the exponents. The thing here is you cannot, if you've seen so far, we've only been combining the same letters, right? X, X, X. Here, you have to do the same thing. You can only combine, sorry, my drawing's a little bad. You can only combine the same letters. So you can only put the X's together, and then you can only put the M's together. So let's just take care of our, not X's, I'm sorry, K's. You don't put the K's together. You can put the M's together. So let's do our K's first. I know I'm subtracting my exponents, so I'm going to do 9 minus 3, which is 6. So now I have a K to the 6th exponent. And then I'm going to do my M's. Now, I know I don't see a exponent down low, but if I don't see one, I can always assume there's a 1. So I'm going to do a 3 minus 1. Whoops, which is 2. Can't type. 3 minus 1, which is 2. So my M is 2. Watch how I write my final answer. I'm still keeping those K and M separately, but I just want to type it all out. K to the 6th, M to the 2nd. This is your final answer right here. Okay. Last one is 2x to the 4th, and it's all being raised to the 3rd power. So I have to go back and look, what is it called when we have two exponents on top of each other? It's called the power law, which means you're multiplying your exponents. So the power law, we have to multiply the exponents. Now, I want to take care of this number 2 out front. It is not an exponent. We're going to treat it like normal. 2 is being raised to the 3rd power. That's 2 times 2 times 2, 3 separate times. If you did 2 times 2 times 2, it's going to give you an answer of 8. All right? We still have an x. And now we're going to do our power law for our exponents, which says to multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so there's your laws in action. But again, always refer back to what you do, and good luck on the quiz.